Hello Nation. Today we're going to talk about preventing type 2 diabetes, what used to be called adult onset diabetes. The rates are increasing dramatically, not only in the United States, but around the world. The number of people in the United States with diabetes, approximate 30 million. The number of people with pre-diabetes is approximately 80 million. And every year, 5 to 10% of those folks convert over to type 2. Now, what is pre-diabetes? It's pretty simple. We have our categories and ranges on blood sugar levels. If you get above a certain level, you have diabetes. We have the certain range for normal. So it's that gray zone. Your numbers aren't quite normal, but they're not quite in the diabetic range. How do we define diabetes as caregivers? Fasting blood sugar below 100 is normal. 126 is greater is diabetes. Between 100 and 126, first thing in the morning, without eating anything all night, that's called pre-diabetes. Now, if we do a fancy test called the glucose tolerance test, you swallow 75 grams of a really sweet syrup, you check your blood sugar exactly at 2 hours. People who are normal are less than 140. People who are diabetic are 200 or greater. And if you're in that gray zone, the pre-diabetes, you're between 140 and 200. The last way, and I think one of the most easiest ways to get the diagnosis, is to do a hemoglobin A1C. It's a blood test we use in diabetes clinic that gives us an average of the blood sugar over the prior 3 months. For people with diabetes, we're trying to get them less than 7. But if your A1C is between 5.7 and 6.5, that's called pre-diabetes. If you're below 5.7, then you're not at risk. Now, who is at risk? I think the highest risk are folks that have a family history of type 2. Mother, father, siblings. Remember, it's always our parents' fault. It's passed along so strongly from generation to generation because it's in the genes, not Jordache genes, but these are the genetic makeup of our body. Now, if you're a member of a certain ethnic group, like Native American Indian, Pacific Islander, Hawaiians, same group, African Americans, Latinos, you're going to be at a higher risk because it runs strongly in those ethnic groups. If you have a certain body habitus, if you have a beer belly, where you carry most of your weight down here, if you have high blood pressure, abnormal cholesterol level, these are other metabolic factors that are associated with pre-diabetes. And lastly, if you are a female and you had a baby over 9 pounds, that puts you at risk, because it turns out that if your blood sugars are a little high during pregnancy, makes the baby very big and lead to C-sections, all kinds of other problems. Well, what can we do if you have pre-diabetes and you are at risk? And once again, your biggest risk factor is having someone in your family with type 2, like your father or your mother. And if both your parents have type 2, there's virtually a 100% chance you're going to get it during your lifetime, but we can prevent it. What can we do? Let's go to non-pharmacologic first. What does that mean? It means lifestyle. Trying to get down to a good, ideal body weight. Even if you don't get skinny mini, any little bit of weight reduction helps. And physical exercise. I was an investigator in a large government-funded study called the Diabetes Prevention Program. And it turns out that exercising 30 minutes a day, mostly aerobic, 5 days a week, trying to lose 5 to 6% of your body weight, it's not that much, can reduce the conversion from pre-diabetes to type 2 diabetes by almost 60%. Easier said than done, but you got to get some support system. And, that goes along with people with type 2 diabetes as well. That's very powerful. Now, one thing people don't do enough that I think they should is consider medications. It turns out that the medications we use to treat type 2 diabetes, once your blood sugars cross that line into the critical area, we just use them earlier, and they've been studied. They're called prevention studies. They're all listed in this excellent textbook written by this very famous author, oh yeah, me. And there's a chapter on preventing type 2 diabetes. So for example, metformin, it's also called glucophage. Insulin sensitizer drug called pioglitazone, known as Actos. Fat blockers that is sold over the counter called Allure. What we call carbohydrate absorption inhibitors, Precose. And a very recent study called Origin that looked at the incidence of diabetes in people who had prediabetes and were given low-dose, long-acting insulin glargine. Every single one of those studies, it statistically prevented the conversion of people with prediabetes to type 2. So my theory is, why not use them a little bit earlier? They're not strange drugs. They're not different drugs. They're just used a little earlier in the natural history. So think about this. If you can do something like lifestyle, plus or minus a medication, you got to talk to your doctor, of course, that it's quite powerful. Now, the last thing I want to say is that only 1 out of 8 people who are identified as having prediabetes, as I defined earlier, go on to develop type 2 diabetes. So some people are more at risk than others. Improving your lifestyle is always a good thing. It helps your blood pressure, cholesterol. Even if your risk for type 2 diabetes isn't as strong as others, there is another test. It's called the PREDIX test, PREDX, and it's a blood test that looks at other biologic markers that are associated with the development of type 2 diabetes. And that test may also help you know how much of a risk you are at getting type 2 diabetes. So that's it, nation. Prevent diabetes.